Well, my friends, welcome to another vlog here on my YouTube channel. I have so many exciting things going on in life, and I hope you do as well. Matter of fact, I'm noticing right here that my video blocking is off just a little bit. You were getting the top of my monitor. Not that you probably would have noticed, but anyway, I did, and so I decided to fix it. I want to share with you first and foremost in this video a brand new affirmation that I'm adding to my affirmation list. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am a huge proponent for being intentional about what my dominating thoughts are, the things that I choose to believe, the things that I allow to be repeated over and over again in my mind about what life means, how life works, what's true about how this world operates. Okay? So anyway, if you're not aware of that, just stick around long enough. If you're new to the channel, you will understand that that's a big, huge theme of mine. And so one of the things that I am doing is I'm always taking in information from other people. Intentionally, I try to look at people that I personally trust, that I respect, people who have achieved things that I want to achieve in life, people that, quite frankly, are living in certain areas of their lives. They're experiencing things that I would like to experience either more of, or I'm not experiencing at all yet in my life. Now, thankfully, as a result of doing that, I have listened to these people, I've studied these people, I've read their books, and as a result of that, I have found myself automatically receiving the things that they've said, letting those thoughts go through my mind as suggestions, and then choosing to accept and adopt those that I have confirmed and believe are true, but also attaching feeling and meaning to it and allowing them to be something that I will repeat to myself over and over again until I'm absolutely certain that it's a part of who I am, that it goes through my conscious mind into my subconscious and it becomes a part of the operating system of my life. Now, there's more that could be said about all of that, but I just want to share with you first the affirmation that I just added to my list today. This is in my written journal here. So oh gosh, I just showed you that. You could screen capture it. I don't think there's anything there's nothing on that page that I just shared with you that I wouldn't want you to see out of my journal. So you could go back and screen capture that if you want. But here's the new affirmation. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to tell you where it came from, and then I'm going to share some more insight, all right? The new affirmation: my income is in direct let me start again. My income is in direct proportion to my contribution in the world. To self-impose a limit on my income is to limit the contribution that I'm able to make to the world. All right? Let me just say that again in my own language in a way that it will explain it. You see, sometimes sometimes in the past, I had allowed myself to say, my income over the last several years has been this, this, and this. All right. But now I want to increase my income. And every time I've ever done that, I've found myself hitting those goals. And there was a time, by the way, that my desire for one specific year was, I'll just tell you, it was it was right at $750,000 in 1 year. It was the most I've ever made in a single year in my life. It was the year that Stephanie and I had the dream of building our dream home. We needed a lot of extra money to be able to pull this off. And I set that as my goal, and I went to town on it. And I did. Now, the way that I did that was I provided extra value to an increasingly large number of people. I used to do podcasting A to Z for 4 weeks, $2,000 per student, and I would limit that to 20 students per session. That is $40,000 each time I did the course, and I was doing it 4 times a year. Well, the year that I made this goal, I decided to go from 4 sessions per year to 6 sessions per year. And also, not only did I increase the number of sessions to 6, now that automatically added an extra $80,000 that year. However, if I would have kept it limited at 20 students. But for a number of sessions while our house was being built, I took the limit off the number of students that I allowed into the course. And there were times when I had 38 students. There were times when I had 36 students. There were times when I had 41 students. Now you do that math, 41 times $2,000. 38 times $2,000. And then all of a sudden that income was just coming in like crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. I was working around the clock to provide value. See, back when I had podcasting A to Z, is like, I'm your coach for 4 weeks. You get unlimited access to ask me any number of questions you want. And I served all of those people in a powerful way. I just worked around the clock for a season of life to just get what I wanted, which was to be able to build this house and be able to put down $62,000 as a down payment, 20% of our home, so that we would not have to get one of those loans that had points on it and all this other stuff, but also so that we could furnish the house and not have one of, so we weren't house poor and you walk in and there's no furniture in the house. We wanted furniture in the house. So we had this big dream, big goal. And I got to tell you, to make that much income was a significant increase over what we were used to. And not surprising, knowing what I know about our mindset and things like that, the year after that, I didn't go all the way back down to where I was the year before that year, but I did go to where it was more in alignment with what seemed to be acceptable for. I mean, could I have generated that same $750K in my business every single year from that point forward and gone on? Yes. But by the way, could I have actually set a new standard for myself and say, not only will I make a minimum of $750K in my business every single year, but I will find a way to do it in a more efficient way that allows me, instead of working 50 to 60 hours a week, 6 months out of the year, can I actually get myself down to 20 to 30 hours a week? The answer to that question is obviously yes. I could have hired other coach. I mean, and the thing is there is no limit on what I'm able to achieve other than what I set in my own mind. This is absolutely true. It cannot be argued. Although if you are having trouble with just receiving that suggestion that I just made to you, I would encourage you to read the book. Hold on, where is it at? Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Absolutely amazing book, and it's not as crazy as you might originally think. But anyway, so what I found, though, is that there is this upper limit challenge we have in our mind, or that I had in my mind. And I'm not alone. I'm going to pull up a book here. Just one second. If you haven't read this book, I encourage you to read this book. It's by Gay Hendricks. It's called The Big Leap. Anyway, in The Big Leap, he talks about the upper limit challenge, that we have this thermostat in our mind. We all have a number in our life financially where we say, I'm worthy of generating this amount of money. I believe it's that the responsible amount of money for me to earn is this. Given the number of hours that I want to work, the kind of skills that I have, and all these things, I think it's appropriate for me to generate this amount of money. And that's been my experience over the last several years. This is how much money I've made. And to think about tripling my income seems irresponsible. Matter of fact, it seems impossible. I mean, how could I possibly... let's just say if you've made an average of $60,000 over the last 5 years, you look at your tax return over the last 5 years, your adjusted gross income, your AGI is $60K on average every single year for the last 5 years. Is it possible for you to make $120,000 next year? The answer is yes, 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 and yes. Is it possible for you to do it with less time, effort, and energy? Yes. Do you get it for nothing? No. Would you need to actually do some things to take some massive action to make that possible? Yes. Would it be uncomfortable? Probably more mentally than physically, though, unless you choose to make it physically difficult because you have this belief from childhood where you've been conditioned that you must work hard to earn money, and the harder you work, the more you should make. And so, therefore, if you have that limiting belief that is not true, by the way, then you will actually force yourself to work harder to earn that much more money. So, but if you can break free from that limiting belief, you could actually create a standard where I'm going to make $120,000 next year, and I'm going to do it by doing this kind of work, and I will go and get these skills. I will read these books. I will make these connections. I will take these actions on a daily basis. I will connect myself with other people who are doing this, learn from what they're doing, and I will have a new job securing $120,000 a year salary for myself. If that's, let's just say if you want to do that. Or if you want to go self-employed, it's a lot easier because you get to keep more profit. But that's neither here. This isn't about that. It's just, can you do it? Yes. Is it possible? But will most people do that? No, because of their upper limit challenge. It's like, man, I can't imagine making double what I make right now for less time. There's too many things that are in our brain that are holding us back. And that's where, and I came up with this, by the way. I'm listening to an audio program from Tony Robbins. Let's see, can you see it down here? Right here. I'm listening to a program called Ultimate Edge from Tony Robbins, and I was on day 15 today, where Tony Robbins is talking about his early financial journey, where he went from $38,000 a year to $1 million a year, several years straight in a row. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but here's what I will tell you. He sat there and he said, listen, I got to the place where I was limited by making $1 million a year in income. The problem is that the people who were working with me had all this financial margin. They were enjoying the finer things of life, but I was never at home. I was never here. I just didn't have the finance. I was always on the run. And financially, believe it or not, because of the things that I wanted in life, it's like, dude, why can't I make more than $1 million? And he had some upper limit challenges that he had to get over. And then finally he sat there and he realized, wait a second, I've been putting a self-imposed limit on my income. And then he decided, you know what? How did I get to here? How did I get to $1 million? And he tells that story, but he says, how did I get beyond 1 million? And that's when he tells the story about how he made a decision that he wanted to contribute financially to give money to an organization that would feed every single person that needed food in an entire county in California. I can't remember which county it was, but he wanted to feed all the homeless, like for an entire, I want to actually contribute. I want to write a check. How much would it cost to give this organization to feed every person that needs to be fed that is without food for an entire year? And he got that number and he says, okay, to be able to do that, I would need to, and still have money for myself and enjoy the finer things in life. What income? And it was well over $1 million that he would need for his personal income at that point. And he says, it was only by deciding how I need and desire and must contribute at a higher level that he then took the actions necessary to do that thing. So, this is where that story comes from. My income is in direct proportion to my contribution to the world. To set a limit, because I think this is all that I should do. If I can't really, I'm not willing to do this. It's so uncomfortable. What would people say about me if I make that much money? What if I did things and I charged this amount of money? How many people would say, gosh, what are you, some sort of charlatan? Nobody's going to pay you for that. What would people say if they found out how much anyway, all of that stuff. What would people say? What would people think? All right. But hey, if I'm going to impose a limit on my income to say, I'm not worthy of this, it's not right. If I make that much money, then that means there's other people who can't make that same kind of money, which is a limiting false belief that is absolutely a lie. Wealth does not have limit. There may be a limit on paper money, although they seem to be printing that. That's another thing for another time. But anyway, so, but if you're going to place a limit, if I'm going to place a limit on how much money I can generate within a year, then I am automatically placing on a limit on the value, the contribution that I can give to the world. See, if I want to contribute at the highest level, I believe that I've only tapped into scratching just the very surface of what God has created me to do on this planet. And I sense that, and I hear that from other people who follow me, and I'm believing it at levels that I had never believed before, and I am moving in that direction. So, anyway, new affirmation. I'm going to add it to my affirmation file. I'm going to remind myself every single day, listen, you can't put a limit on my income. I cannot allow myself to limit myself. Not only am I going to make my numbers that I've committed to this year, I am committed to increasing it next year so that I can do this in the world. All right? Now, that's where all of this came from. That's the purpose of this. But I want to tell you that as I went to the gym and had an incredibly awesome workout this morning, I was writing down some notes, and I decided to create a new goal that will increase my income, but also will increase my contribution in this world to a new level. And so I want to just briefly tell you about the Audio Journal podcast. It's my Patreon account. So most of you are probably familiar with Patreon. It's where you can contribute a monthly amount to contribute to and support the work that somebody's doing in this world. Creators are doing lots of things to create value, to add value to your life, to add value to other people's lives. And that's one of the things that I'm doing in this world. Now, my greatest contribution in this world right now in 2020 has been to the existing clients that I work with in my next level mastermind and my existing clients that I work with in a one-on-one coaching relationship. Now, that's where I devote a majority of my time, effort, and energy. Those people are my priority in my business. But one of the things that I've been doing since November 2018 is a weekly commitment, a minimum of one episode per week I've been putting into what's called the Audio Journal, where I share all sorts of stuff that's going on in my life when it comes to the behind the scenes, the decisions that I'm making, the thoughts that I'm having, the actions that I'm going to take. And then not only do I talk about here are my goals, here are my dreams, here are the actions that I'm going to take, but I'm also committed to sharing what are the results. Now, I certainly am very delighted to report to them in my audio journal updates the successes that I've had and what the results were and what I learned about those and how you might be able to also achieve similar success. And here's a little strategy that worked really well for me. But I also share very authentically all of my failures. And I share it in full detail, financial, how I felt humiliated, and all these other things. I share all of those things as well. But I share them not only for the purpose of saying this is what happened, feel bad for me. I don't do it for that. I do it because I'm like, listen, here's what I've learned. I've evaluated what I did. Here's where I went wrong. I had the wrong motives here. I had the wrong information. I was given this insight, but this didn't turn out to be true for me. I don't think that they lied to me. It seems to be true for them, and it seemed to be true for other people, but it wasn't true for me in this instance. And here are a couple things that I think it could be. And so I share all of that. That's the audio journal. But lately, I started a brand new additional piece of content on a regular basis, Cliff's Notes on fill in the blank. And currently, I'm doing a series on Cliff's Notes on Think and Grow Rich, where I'm going through this book, Think and Grow Rich. And if you look here, you'll see just how much I am devouring this book. I have done 18 audio journal episodes with my notes on Think and Grow Rich. And that is just the first 4 chapters, and I'm going to finish this book. So there's a minimum of 1 episode per week, but within the last 10 days, I've created over 20 episodes of the audio journal. Now, can you keep up with all of that? Probably not. Do I think you should try to keep up with everything that I publish in the audio journal? That's up to you. I don't think you should do anything. You know, you have to be intentional, but you could actually take those episodes and just earmark those and say, hey, eventually I'm going to read Think and Grow Rich, and I would love to have all of Cliff's insights that he's gotten now that he's read this. This is his 4th time through, and he's talking about himself in the 3rd person right now. But anyway, I would love to have all of the insight that Cliff has gained on each of these principles, each of these suggestions that Napoleon, is this real? How did Cliff go from being a skeptic and thinking this is new age woo woo? I don't know that I like this. It's challenging my worldview and I don't feel comfortable, to the place where, oh my gosh, so far up to chapter 4, there isn't anything. And not only that, but there's an entire episode on, is Napoleon Hill, or was Napoleon Hill, a fraud and a scam artist? So that's in the audio journal, and eventually those are going to be one-off. These Cliff's Notes on fill in the blank will be one-off audio products that people can purchase down the road. So, but audio journal subscribers get them as I'm creating them in between all the other personal audio journal updates. So, now the crazy thing is I've only just, I created the audio journal and say, hey, if anybody wants this, you can have it. And as of today, on my way to the gym, I looked, actually when I got to the gym in the parking lot, I looked and I saw that I had just gained my 50th subscriber. Now I've had somewhere between 40 to 50 subscribers ever since I started this thing, but it's never been anything that I've intentionally tried to market in a powerful way. It's just like, hey guys, if you're a true fan and you're not getting enough content from the stuff that I do publicly, or if you just want to support me in the work and the message I'm putting out into the world, become a true fan. Come over to mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal, or go to patreon.com/cliffravenscraft. It's $10 a month, and you get at least one episode per month, one episode per week. And now it's pretty much assured you're going to get more than that, because as of today, I've made a new goal. And it's written right here, all right? New goal. So I just reached 50 audio journal subscribers. New goal, 1,000 true fans. I will attain 1,000 true fans within my community. Now over the past 12 years, I've reached hundreds of thousands of people with my message through the content that I've put out into the world. I know that there are hundreds of thousands of people today that say, Cliff, my life is exponentially better as a result of the inspiration and encouragement that you've put into the world through the content that you've created. And that's awesome. And I got to tell you, sometimes, because of my limiting belief, I've never tried to monopolize on that. That's not true. There have been a number of times that I did try to monopolize on it with different programs and different things in the past, and it never really worked out, and it had a lot to do with some of the mistakes. And I've talked about some of that in the audio journal, and there are 188 episodes of the audio journal as of right now. You could go listen to the entire archives if you want. But anyway, the one thing is that I've never done this in the right way, that it feels in alignment and integrity, and I'm so excited. I'm just looking to build 1,000 true fans who are going to subscribe to the Audio Journal podcast. Now, I've added, since I started Think and Grow Rich, I've added 12 new subscribers within the last week. All right, just because I just started this about 10 days ago. So 12 new subscribers in the past week. Now, here's my goal. I'm going to begin to work on the process of making sure that, number one, I'm creating so much valuable content. I'm going to continue with Cliff's Notes on Think and Grow Rich. And then I'm going to move on to other books like Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. I might do a Cliff's Notes on The Big Leap. And who knows, I'll do Cliff's Notes on audio programs from Tony Robbins. I've got entire stacks of books back here that I've ordered in physical form so that I can outline and go through much in the same way that I'm currently going through Think and Grow Rich. So that's one. People are going to get not only my personal audio journal behind the scenes updates in the audio journal, that's a minimum of one per week, but there will be seasons when I go through significant series of Cliff's Notes on such and such. Whatever these books or audio programs or courses that I'm taking, I'm going to share my thoughts, my thought process as I'm continuing to grow personally and professionally. These are things that I've done personally, but I've never created content at this level related to them, and I'm committed to doing that now. And also, I'm committed to creating at least one personal, private live stream only for my true fan community, the Audio Journal subscribers via Patreon. And I've already done one of these. It was unlisted on YouTube, and I sent the people who are Patreon subscribers, I sent them all a link to it, and I scheduled it ahead of time. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. It's so funny. And I just do it as an AMA, and Ask Me Anything. So you're an Audio Journal subscriber. You've been listening to the content that I've put together. You may not be in a position where you can afford the type of product or service I do in the coaching realm, which as of July 1st, 2020, my rate for the Next Level Mastermind is $2,250 a month. I have 2 groups of the Next Level Mastermind, and I currently have 5, which I carry 3 to 5 one-on-one clients in coaching, in my one-on-one coaching practice. I only work 3 days a week with those clients and my Next Level Mastermind on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I have every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with no scheduled activities on my calendar, which allows me to learn and grow and have margin in my life for all of these other things. But my coaching is at a very high premium. It's very effective and worth it, but it's a very high premium. But for $10 a month, you get all of the stuff that I'm pouring into my brain, my thought process, what I'm doing, the behind the scenes of my business. You can hear 188 episodes of this and go all the way back to 2018 to hear my biggest financial struggle since the first year I built my business and how I dug out of a $38,000 hole in just a few short months, and then repeated the mistake, dug another $21,000 hole, and just in a few months, how I dug out of that, and then how I turned my life into what it is today. All of that, you get all of that, plus Cliff's notes on all these different things, a minimum of 1 live call where you can ask me anything in a group session via a live stream, a minimum of 1 of those per month, likely more. But the whole thing is I'm going to do all of this for my true fan community in the Audio Journal via Patreon. This, my friends, is my new goal, and I'm super excited about it. And I've never had one of those low-cost membership programs, although I guess the Audio Journal could be considered a low-cost membership program. If you want to think about this as you're joining a membership program, then you could consider that. But for $10 a month on Patreon, you can subscribe to the Audio Journal, and you get all of the above. That's what I wanted to share with you. That's my vlog update for July 1st, 2020. And now there are 9 minutes until the AM group of the Next Level Mastermind. Thank you so much. Until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level. Bye-bye.